So hello and welcome everyone. So in this video, we are going to discuss about power over Ethernet. So guys, you might have heard about POE. So POE actually stands for power over Ethernet. So it's an technology that actually provides power along with the data. Okay, so there are some special devices that can actually send power along with the data. So we have known like there are some switches if we talk about. So there are some switches and which can actually deliver power through Ethernet cable. Okay. So the advantage of using power over Ethernet is that the switches that you have can actually also be used to send power as well. Okay. So you don't have to configure cables for power as well. So suppose if you are connecting any smart device, just
If you enjoyed the content of the video, don't forget to like and share the video and subscribe to our channel.
okay. So switches can actually provide power through the Ethernet cable. So PoE allows devices to gain power directly from the Ethernet cable. Okay, and in order to make this connection, we actually don't have to install any additional power cables or power lines. All right. So using power over Ethernet has some certain benefits as well. So when we are talking about PoE devices have their specific benefits. So the first benefit is that it is very much convenient. So the devices that we use is very much convenient to use. So like we have discussed, so PoE devices doesn't require separate lines for power. So you don't actually have to lay out separate cables just to connect some of the devices. The second thing is that it is very much cost effective. So these cables are, or this infrastructure is very much cost effective as it reduces the maintenance and installation step. The third benefit is that of flexibility. Okay, so it has a support for various devices. So a PoE switch or the PoE technology is generally supported by a whole lot of devices. Okay, and that is also, there is one more benefit of using PoE switch is the reliability. Okay, so it reduces the risk of power outages. So when you connect devices with PoE switch, so even during a power outage, your devices might still be running because it is rather than receiving the power from the wall source or the AC power source, it is actually receiving the power from the switches. So in during a power surge or a power outage, your switches might be running. And if your switches are running, then it means that the other devices that you have connected to your PoE switch is also be running. Okay, so this is basically what POE is. Now let's see how does it POE works. So let's look into how does POE works. So when you're talking about POE, so what happens like if you have a happen to have a POE switch. So suppose like this is my switch and I have connected some devices here. This could be our VoIP phones or IP phones. Okay. So what happens like the switches here directly send the power. Okay. So a POE switch may directly send power through Ethernet cable. So we all know like all these devices are connected via an Ethernet cable and the POE switches actually utilizes those cables only. So in those cable, it actually use the same segment of cables in order to send the data as well as the power also. Okay, so that's how it works. So if you remember, like an Ethernet consists of 8 cables, and out of those 8 cables at a moment, only 4 cables are actually used to send and receive data. The remaining 4 cables can be used by the PoE switch in order to send and receive electricity along with the data. So that's why the devices that you're connecting to your switch might not require an other alternate source of power. So they are like being powered up by the switch itself. So depending upon the devices you would like to use, and depending upon your types of network, PoE has some certain standards. Okay, so there are certain standards that dictates the PoE. So there are generally 3 standards. The first one is IEEE 802.3 AF. The other one is IEEE 802.3 AT. And the third one is IEEE 802.3 PT. So these are the 3 standards that we used in our Ethernet PoE connection. So whenever you are connecting devices using PoE, so this is the 3 standards that you might be using. Okay, so let's quickly look on to the devices that we can use. So devices that are supported by PoE or that you actually make use of the PoE standards are your IP phones. So we have seen regular phones. Okay, so these IP phones, rather than using network here, it actually sends the data through IPs. Okay, so they use the IP network in order to send and receive data. So when you're like talking to someone, the data that is going through is actually going to the IP network, kind of like internet calling. Then you also know like some of the security cameras, like the CCTV cameras, they also are powered by PoE devices. Then there are some devices like wireless access point. So some devices like wireless access point. Then we have the some of the LED lightings and some IoT device like Internet of Things devices. They are all powered by an PoE switch. So if you happen to have any of these devices, so rather than creating or connecting these devices with a separate power link, what you can do, you can actually have a PoE switch and you can connect these devices with the PoE switch and you can ensure like these switches might, that switch, your PoE switch might can also be providing electricity along with the data communication. So let's quickly see, let's jump to our session. So over here, we will try to create lab and where we will see like how does an PoE switch works. Okay, so this is my packet tracer lab. So what I'm going to do, I'm first of all taking a PoE switch, a switch that actually supports PoE. So here I'm taking a layer 3 switch 3560. And in order to demonstrate the connection, I'm taking some IP phones. So let's say these are some of the IP phones that I'm going to use for connection. And let's quickly connect all these devices together. So as you can see that I have made the connection here. Now we just have to wait till the link turns green. So you can see that all of my devices have made connection. Now I'm going into the switch. Let me just drag it across the network. And now I'm going into the switch here. So once you get into the switch, you have to do some configuration. So here you can see that I have already received some configuration here. It says that the interface has changed state up, and here it says power device detected, IEEE PD. So let's see. So first of all, I enter no here. I move into the privilege mode. Then I go into the configuration mode. And here, I'm not in the configuration mode. In the privilege mode itself, if you run the command like show power inline, you will get the list of all the devices that you have connected. So on the first four interfaces, as you can see, I have successfully connected the POE devices. Okay, that is the internet phone, and you can see the status here. So they are like working automatically, so you don't have to configure anything. So they are like working automatically, they are functioning. You can see the operation. So they are right now in on mode and how much power they are receiving. Okay, what kind of device we have connected, what is the class of this device, and what is the maximum power out input that this device requires. All right, so this is the simple demonstration of POE where we actually learn about a POE. So in conclusion, POE is a device that is capable of sending power along with data also. So when you connect POE devices to your POE switches, you don't have to install additional power line to power all those devices. The power is actually sent by the POE device, which is also known as POE injector in terms of POE. Okay, so this injector device actually provides power to the devices like VoIP phone, like security cameras, things like that. So that's it. That's a small demonstration of POE. Do let us know in the comment how you like the video. And in case if you have any doubts, any queries, please don't forget to mention it in the comments. Thank you so much, guys.